And now we shift focus to the latest on the Indian Air Force Day celebrations at the Hindon Air Base in Ghaziabad. Remember, today is the 87th anniversary of the Indian Air Force. Celebrations are underway in Ghaziabad. At the moment, you're looking at live pictures from that celebration. Remember, Indian Air Force was established in the year 1932. This is going to be an occasion where India's Air Force might will be on display. India's firepower, Air Force firepower to be precise, will be on display today. Indian Air Force will showcase Chinook and Apache helicopters. Meanwhile, in France, Rafale jets will be received by Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today. So that coincides with the Indian Air Force Day today. The Indian Air Force is celebrating its 87th birth anniversary with a grand event that is currently underway in the Hindon Air Force Station in Ghaziabad. The day, like I said, is significant for another reason because Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will be taking delivery of India's newest multi-role fighter jets, the Rafale jets, in France today. In fact, we hear that he will also be taken for a spin in the advanced jet made by France's Dassault Aviation at the handover ceremony that is going to take place in France. But here in India, you're looking at the pictures coming to you from the Hindon Air Base, where the Indian Air Force is celebrating its 87th Air Force Day. In a tweet, the Indian Air Force said earlier that the Indian Air Force is a shining example of exemplary courage, fortitude, determination, and impeccable service to our nation. These men and women in blue have the ability to touch the sky with grit and glory. That's the Defence Minister congratulating the Indian Air Force in a tweet that he posted this morning. The air display, in fact, will start with the flag-bearing skydivers of the Akash Ganga team dropping out of the AN-32 aircraft in their colorful canopies. The flypast will include several helicopters and planes, starting with the Chinook and the Apache. These two aircrafts were recently acquired by the Indian Air Force, and we are told that it will end with a spectacular maneuver by the Russian-origin multi-role fighter jet Sukhoi 30 MKI. So that's the information that the Air Force has shared with the media as of now. You're looking at pictures of the occasion, Indian Air Force Day today, and it's being celebrated at the Hindon Air Base in Ghaziabad.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I have on the phone line Brigadier Hemant Mahajan, defense expert, joining us on the phone line. Brigadier Mahajan, good morning. It's a momentous occasion for the country, 87th anniversary of the Indian Air Force. This year, in particular, we are going to look at some spectacular display of fighter jets. What exactly are you looking forward to when we talk about displaying India's military might and Air Force's firepower, which will be on display today, sir?
The Indian Air Force is celebrating its Rising Day today, and we need to compliment the Indian Air Force for providing adequate air cover for the needs of the country. One would recall that at Balakot, Air Force proved its worth by striking targets which were deep inside Pakistan and effectively neutralizing between 250 to 300 terrorists. For the first time in the history of the independent India, an Air Force was used as a strategic weapon to target the terrorist training camps, and it was very effective. Today is also a day in which the Air Force will display its air combat power. We have the fighter aircraft which are going upgrade right now. The upgradation is going on in MiG-29s, in Jaguars, in MiG-2000. This will ensure that their fighting capability improves further and their life is also extended. Then we have certain new inductions which are going to come up in a short while. Basically, first we'll have the Rafales, which will be a game changer. And I think the defense minister is already in France receiving I think he received the aircraft yesterday. Today he will carry out a flight in that aircraft, and thereafter he will come to India along with this Rafale. So Rafale will be a state-of-the-art aircraft, which I suppose can only be seen later. But what we can see right now will be the upgraded Sukhois, the Tejas light combat aircraft, which will be on the display, which is an indigenously developed aircraft, which will show its power today. Then there are MiG-29s and Jaguars which have been upgraded. So I'm sure their firepower will also be displayed today. One would recall that it was the Mirages which carried out a strike at Balakot. In addition to this, the Sukhais have also been upgraded. Though the upgradation is not yet complete, only 50% is complete, but the remainder will get done in a short while. So there's a plethora of aircrafts which will be on display today. The MiG-29s, the Sukhais, the Jaguars, the Mirages. And not only that, I'm sure they will also display the new attack helicopters, the Apache helicopters, which have come up, which will support the Indian Army when a close combat takes place with the Pakistani tanks or in any other sector. In fact, the Apaches have been not only been deployed near the Pakistani borders, but they have also been deployed near the Chinese border. So there will be a complement of helicopters, attack helicopters, fighter aircraft, and not to mention the workhorses like the AN-32s, the IL-76, which are very useful for carrying out strategic airlift from one sector to another. So the whole air power of the country will be on the display, and it will, of course, ensure, it will give a confidence to a citizen that today the Indian Air Force is more than capable of taking care of any threat which comes in the Indian skies.
Absolutely. Brigadier Mahajan, thanks so much for taking us, through this elaborate description of the various kinds of fighter jets that will be on the display. This is also an occasion to salute our air warriors, even as we put our fighter jets showcase our fighter jets. Let's not forget the brave air warriors who's out there to defend the country whenever they are required to. Thanks for joining us with the latest and with your views, Brigadier Mahajan.